Hello, welcome to the Last Arc YouTube channel. My name is Am Jin Rakai of the Am Jin Rakai YouTube channel, as well as the mangaka for the Shonen Beat manga. But today we're going to be doing a live stream reacting to the newest chapter. Now, we call it a reaction, but I did read the chapter once, but I did not really read it in depth yet. I was trying to wait for this stream to really go into it hardcore. Today I'm joined by Cuba the Red Sea. If you want to introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? What's up? Cuba the Red Sea, as you know, member of the last arc, very hyped for this chapter. This week, I can hold myself, so I read it a bit more than once because, you guys will see why. But yeah, appreciate to be here, guys.
And then, of course, always joined by the illustrious 3-day trip. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, how's it going? I mainly do Reddit theories and mod for a few YouTubers and Discords. Glad to be here. This is a great chapter.
Yes, it really is a good chapter today, or a great chapter, 10 out of 10, whatever. Like I said, I if it doesn't have the straw hats, I can't give it a 10 out of 10, no matter what's going on. So it's a 9.9 out of 10 today. And real quick, just some maintenance stuff for the channel. For those of you looking forward to the D&D games tomorrow, we've had some stuff come up where we are not going to be streaming the D&D stream tomorrow like we usually do on Friday. We'll be doing it the next Friday. And then same thing for on Saturday. We're going to be doing a Full Metal Alchemist tier list, but we are not going to be doing it this Saturday. We'll be doing the next weekend. So stay tuned and join the Discord and the YouTube and all that stuff for notifications and event details on those things. And then without, I guess, much further ado, we'll start the chapter. This chapter is 1085, called The Death of Nefertari Cobra. And this cover page is pretty cool, submitted by Mount Apple. Franky encouraging hatchling turtles on their way to the sea.
I suppose I should probably jump in at this point, right?
Oh, my bad, dude. I cannot see the Discord with the way I have it set. I did not know you were on, but this is, of course, our captain, Denden Kushi. Introduce yourself and all that.
Hello. Yeah, then just the YouTube and all that stuff, making sure that these don't get into too much trouble. Blah 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 blah.
Perfect.
But yeah, basically, I was going to say the cover story. You'll have to bear with me, but I think what that is you see Franky with the sign saying departure, I think, with departed or something like that. And what that is the is basically, I think, something to do with the mech giants. He represents the mech giants and the animals that live on both sea and land, which the turtles in this case are being pushed into the sea. So and Franky's crying and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a tragic one, I think, despite it being kind of cartoony. But that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I think this one's got some real big hidden stuff. Whatever. I mean, obviously, there's a departure road sign, which if you watch some of the videos on my channel as well as on the Last Arc YouTube channel, I believe that the D means road. And I think the biggest thing here, though, is that he's sitting on a flipped over crab. It's a little hard to tell with my overlay stuff, but he is sitting on top of a flipped over crab. So he is saving the turtles from death from the crab.
Yeah, I mean, rip Zagrash. I don't know where he's gone, but he would have a field day on this because the crab is something that features in a lot of cover stories, like loads and loads, more than other animals. And it's always in this state of like being on its side or, upside down or something like that. So, and then, yeah, you've got sides. So personally, I think that some sort of, I don't know, world turned upside down situation or like poor relations between the land and sea, like we see in all of these cover stories.
What I like about the departure sign is that it's in the direction that Roger hit Odin with his divine departure, and also Whitebeard. Well, more Odin because he named it that. The same direction, and he slashed his attack, which is interesting.
Okay, I was honestly thinking that with the road sign going the opposite way of the reading direction, I was kind of thinking it might be a huge sign of the whole road thing and how it's like, written backwards or whatever. So all that stuff
Yeah,
I think is very cool.
I would agree with that. Like I would agree that the departure sign written backwards with the upside down crab suggests it's going the inverse. It's going the wrong way. So like they're going into the sea, being pushed into the sea rather than like being made space for on land, which I know turtles don't do, but we know that's the situation with the sky people and stuff like that.
True. And those turtles are extremely cute. These are adorable turtles.
Yeah.
And okay, so with like I said, this one has a ton of stuff, but moving on to the first page, and we start off where we left off last time with Cobra kind of meeting Emu, and him saying the text box thing says the impossible ruler. No one is ever supposed to sit there. No individual should have the power to control the world. Mu shall address two options or two of the points being discussed, and thou must answer a single question in return, Cobra. So here we kind of see that Mu is Emu, whatever, refers to themselves in the third person and is talking here. And we get on the side here that Emu uses Mu to refer to themselves in third person. And it typically means void, but can also be a reading for dream. And I have some big videos coming up about this this Mu idea that this chapter just kind of confirmed a lot of it. A lot of it's been made before finding out about this Mu thing or whatever. But if you're a Berserk fan and you've read Berserk, you'll know the leader of a certain godly faction is named Void. And the blank pages, the blank parts in between the panels control the pages. And I think that Mu and this idea that it could be void or it could be dream or it could be apparition, all of them are the same word, could be a very, very huge deal here. As well as, I don't know if you guys have heard of before, but there's a Atlantis is the most famous lost continent, but there's another one called Mu.
Yep.
And there's a ton of 50s and 40s and 30s literature and art and books and radio plays and silent movies, all dealing with the lost continent of Mu. It's even in that. It's actually even in that Pirates of the Dark Water series too. So very, very big stuff here, clues wise. I think with outside of the IMU.
The community should be like looking out now because you're going to see 1,000 people who have found this place that relates to Atlantis called Mu, and stuff like that. There is other takes as well that we've discussed, like Emu. The eye could be the first Mu. So she's from the Void Century. She was the original Mu. Personally, something I've not seen many people talking about is the fact that Mu is half the word of moon. And I'm not going to get too leaky, but that to me is a bit of a clue.
So, well, I'm sorry. What'd you say? The Mu is like a cow?
No, I'm saying
moon
is the first syllable of moon. Well, or half the syllable of moon.
True. I think another big thing is that it's what a cow, it's the sound a cow makes. And if you look at chapter 1, the very first living creatures that we see outside of a flashback and a cover spread are cows.
You have to say that for a long, long time.
So I like to say something in which I don't listen. It could be nothing, right? But as I do believe that the illness has something to do with Emu, right? Most likely. I don't know how it happens, but there is something. I find it very interesting. Is I'm wondering if the Cobra's coughing the moment Emu talks. Is it just him because of him being sick, or there's something more to it? Because before he even starts coughing a lot, then he says, "Who are you?" And I'm wondering, I've always said the illness. I'm sure Emu has something behind it. It's so suspicious of people who get the illness. It seems to be very targeted.
That's a good point. It very much could be. I like the idea that she could be doing something, with all that sickness or with, just time ending for someone.
I like the idea that the coughing up blood thing might indicate that his lifespan shortening or something, or least reaction to emu. That's
Well,
interesting.
and actually, it's very funny that you say that, Cube, because so there's a people in Japan called the Ainu people, okay? And they actually have a disease, a mental disorder that only is in their culture. It's only in their place that they live in outside Japan. And it's actually called emu. And it's a mental disorder that's usually found in middle-aged and older women. And the main symptoms are they lose consciousness when they're surprised by something, and they take orders from someone and do exactly what they say, or they do the exact opposite. And it's like kind of one of those crazy diseases. They don't know why it starts. They don't know what exactly causes it, but it is only in this Ainu part of Japan. And it is a mental disorder that only the Ainu people exhibit that have lived there for years. And it's called emu. And it's pretty much about going crazy like Kaguya.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting, actually.
I'll send you this page when we're done with
Sure.
the stream or whatever. But yeah, it's a crazy one. That shout out to Cuddy Flam. He found that and just sent it to me earlier. So it was like, oh wow, this could be huge, especially if we think that emu has some sort of abilities with eyes or tapping into people's emotions when their eyes go, not black and filled in, but white when they're usually angry. I think that there's a chance that all might be connected with that stuff. Okay, so yeah, the page ends with with Cobra coughing and going, "Who are you?" I've heard the name Emu before. It could be a coincidence, but one of the first 20 was also called that. Such curiosity titters on impertinence. It will not be dignified with an answer. And I love this panel here because I think we're all, the people that have been saying that Emu's a girl forever are finally getting proved right. I think with what looks an awful lot like hair strands. I think
it looks to me like it looks like Nami to me, like straight up. I don't know why, but it just looks straight like Nami.
Oh, I think it looks like Robin with those eyes like that. Nami's eyes are usually drawn like Luffy's, but with eyelashes. Robin's eyes are usually drawn in this oval shape that's closed.
It's
So
true.
I
I don't know why. I just see it. I don't know.
I have a fear about that because there is a lot of people are there's the VV with emu, but the one thing people love to do is the whole Robin connection with emu or Nami connection with emu. And as you know, I'm also wondering if Oda drew that specifically to basically show us it's a red herring. Yeah, ambiguous.
Mhm.
Because we
Well,
know in the past he's played around with certain characters and how they look like. Especially with Shanks, he started playing some stuff like more ominous because then he always says like Shanks by making a move. He knows how people think in the community. So it could also be that the way he drew her silhouette.
True, and I do like that. I do lean more towards the idea that this Lily character looked like Nami. I'm colorblind, so you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that orange and blue are across from each other on the color wheel, or at least within relative distance to being across from each other.
That's very, very interesting. I've never thought of that. But they're not total polar opposites, but they're definitely on the other side of the spectrum.
Okay, and Nami having it's an I, but it has that same Y ending sound that VV and Lily all have with their name. It's also 4 letters, just like all of their names. So I'm leaning more towards the idea that Nami is if something in Alabasta represents like 2 sisters or a brother and sister that are maybe the sun and moon or the sea and the sun. We have the blue hair, we have the orange sun hair, stuff like that. I think might be very possible, and with all that stuff, and even in the Alabasta story, the main female figure that was coming between these two was Robin, and I think that would fit. Seems to be maybe a huge connection and fitting with what Emu did when it came to Lily and maybe Joy Boy in the past.
Yeah. I just received. Well, I saw the comment and I was gonna bring it up, but TJ also sent me a DM with the same thing, so I'm gonna share it. He's wondering. He's actually thinking that Cobra knew already that he would die the moment he would be in the room, and so it was like literally his own life force was diminishing. Literally, his mind, body, spirit, just basically reversal of all death for the awakening. So getting stronger,
Okay.
his life, which is interesting.
Okay, I do. My only qualm with that one is, I mean, yes, it does seem like, I think we get later in this chapter that he knew he was gonna die as soon as she came out or whatever like that. But I do wonder what if he was going when he was going in there, he was planning to die. What exactly was his plan to get the information out of there? Like, what good would be any of that if he was going in there to find out some answers to questions and then die immediately? I wonder, but I do like the idea though that pretty much once his death is no matter what determined, once Emu comes in the room, he starts getting a lot sicker, and pretty much that whole life force and will to live and all that stuff, whether he means to or not, is being decimated. I do like that idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think
and
he
my
wanted
last.
to at least know the truth before he passed away. He knew he was sick and dying, so
Yeah.
some people won't need that before they pass away. Whether he went in there knowing he was going to die or not, he knew it wasn't too long before that was going to happen, and he
True,
wanted the
true.
truth.
100%.
I was just gonna say before I let it then let finish, but I'm telling you, this is the first time we ever heard them using the statement of first 20. I don't think he was talking about the 20 kingdoms. It could be something older. We never got the first 20 like
Okay.
that. It's very weird. We always get the 20 kingdoms, the 20 kings, but we never got just the first 20.
That's interesting. I wonder. I'll have to look at the official to see if it has something weird being said around there, because that's an interesting idea. That it's not referring to what we know of already, but just like a 20 before that original 20 kingdoms. I do like
Yeah.
that.
And she
The
cuts him
20
off just
doctors.
before. Yeah, like she cuts
yeah.
him off
20
just
MDs.
after that.
Maybe the first 20 pirates.
MDs, that's so true. Yeah.
I think the word is tribe or clan. If you think about it, there's that same D clan or the tribes. It could be like the Four Nation Kingdoms. I already told Lyndon. It could be the word clan or something like that, like a society older than the world government.
True. Reminds me of like the idea of the I think it's like the 13 clans of Israel. I know there's like a Dan clan, there's like a Michael clan or something. They just there's a bunch of old stuff with that's supposed to be super old. But no, I really like I like all these ideas, honestly. All right, next panel. However, those initial queries shall be addressed. D is the moniker of our enemy, of our ancient enemy. In recent times, it has cropped up more frequently. However, it is nothing but a faint echo. Those who carry the name do not even know of its true meaning now, and yet this irritation only endures due to Queen Lily's grave blunder 800 years ago. Blunder, Cobra asks. The same can be said of those irksome scholars investigating the so-called Void Century. And if you've read this chapter already, keep in mind where each of the Gorsei members are positioned here, because that will be what we have to use later on to kind of base stuff and predictions off of, is which one's which based on this placement. Without that blunder, there would be no pirates chasing the poneglyphs in pursuit of treasure either. If it were not for Lily's incompetence, those vexing relics would never have been scattered all over the world. The release of the poneglyphs was the worst possible outcome for us, so one must wonder whether it was truly a mistake or if it was actually part of some larger plan. Cobra's shocked by this and everyone starts pulling out guns.
I'm gonna say something. You ready, guys? I think
Yeah.
that's the punishment that Durisha got. I think she helped Lily scatter the polyglyphs.
Yes, I agree.
I think it's her
Interesting.
punishment.
I was gonna say that too. Yes, I totally agree that it probably walked around the whole world dropping them off, and then like that emu disease where you either do exactly as you're ordered or you do the exact opposite. If maybe the Zunisha was ordered to track back the route of the poneglyphs that it dropped off, and it's doing the opposite route, or the same route. I mean, I guess it did go to Wano, and I guess it had one on its back, but
And I'm pretty sure this
That's
is my
interesting.
prediction, my not even prediction. If we ever get a flashback of that instant, and if it's a Zunisha, I'm pretty sure whoever is Zunisha is singing Bing Sake. You think of Bing Sake
yeah.
and and what it means, it could mean that, sailing away,
There
saying
is-
goodbye to all my friends.
Sorry, Coop, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I was
No,
going
no,
to say there is one little correction as well. Is like they're not all pulling out guns. 4 of them are pulling out guns.
no, you're right. You're right. The one's
yeah,
pulling out the
Andy-
sword.
About to whip out his sword, which is so cool. Like that is so cool.
Yeah.
I do have a
But-
question.
Okay, go on.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you was done. Go ahead.
Last thing I was going to say is like when I read this the first time, because I have read it more than once, I can't lie. When I read it the first time, this caught me off guard. Like we'd seen some stuff and some spoilery stuff, but to actually see it, for them to bring out guns, it just seems totally out of place. However, I've been thinking about that, and I'll touch on it in a minute when we get to some later panels.
Well, my
Let's see
big
that
thing
far
with the guns right here would be they know that to kill Cobra, they don't need much more than guns.
I mean, yeah, they probably don't even need 4 guns and a sword either. They probably don't need any of that. But as I said, I'll touch on it in a minute. Like,
I'll let Sude go first, and then I'll go
Yeah, what
after.
was the question? 3, Dave?
My question is, if they scattered the poneglyphs, where were they all at to begin with if they were all gathered together?
Alabaster, 100%. The stone, like if you look up what the stone of alabaster is in real life, it's a clear stone. So I'm guessing I'm guessing that is Joy Boy's journey ends at Dawn Island, comes back, and then he's like at Dawn Island, he's like, right, I know what I need to do on my journey back because I've got to create this Willow D. On the way back, one of his first stops is Alabaster, either with Lily or to pick her up from there, which is why she went missing. I'm guessing she went with Joy Boy, and then he's basically engraved all these stones, imbued it with haki, and then used Yoru to cut it into cubes, and then they've put them on top of Pluton, which we know was which we think was at Alabaster, either Pluton or Zunisha, and then boom, they like take them up the Grand Line and they start dishing them out to the 8 kingdoms, basically. That's my
What if it was
opinion.
somebody with Kuma's power that knocked them all over the world?
That's a sick idea. Like
Oh, that would be crazy.
that would be nuts.
I'm gonna say this. I'm pretty sure now. I'm very convinced why Oda sometimes shows like people using handguns to kill someone. When I think it's supposed to symbolize that I think the ancient kingdom were like swords and spears, like with Sinica, and the 20 kings were all had guns, and this could represent that. I think maybe originally Gandhi was part of the ancient kingdom. He's the only one who wields a sword, while the others are all wielding a handgun, like the Flamingo was holding to kill his father.
And if Lily was one of the people that was supposed to be joining them and betrayed them, and they didn't know she was a member of the D clan, doesn't that mean they intentionally infiltrated the 20 allied nations before it was formed?
Interesting. I think personally that's the direction we're going anyway. But it's interesting that it fits into it like that. Yeah.
I think so I like the idea that they could come from Alabasta, but I actually think it's the opposite. I think it seems like the whole world knows about Lodestar or Roadstar Island. And a Lodestar or Lode whatever is a gigantic rock that has magnetism. You can use it for compasses, you can use it for anything. So I wonder if at the Lodestar or Roadstar Island is where these things were created, and then like Roger did, going backwards to find out the information, they dropped them off backwards order and then ended at Alabasta.
That's
So-
interesting.
I'm gonna
That's
jump in with my old thought. I think it's Shadora, old Shadora. Literally, O'Hara proved it. Literally the buildings had polyglyph scripture, like it was a culture over there. I think it was ancient kingdom, but it was specifically Shadora. It was originally because of that.
Okay, Shan. I guess yeah, they did have whatever that pyroblin or whatever it was.
Pyroblane, yeah. By the
They
way,
are.
but by the way, Rimuru, I see you. I do see you in the chat. So we're
I
gonna have to
can
catch up.
I can see them starting all the poneglyphs being at Lodestar to begin with. Load poneglyphs, Roadstar, Road poneglyphs. Maybe they are all from there.
I think like yeah, that's interesting that they're low poneglyphs and they could be from Lodestar. I didn't think of that. What like I was thinking before is
Oh,
that
it's
because
true.
Paradise and the New World are like different climates, right? Paradise is full of humans and it's kind of safe and it's called Paradise. And then you've got the New World, which is just an absolute shit show and it's just full of like non-humans as well. So I'm assuming the red line was put up to segregate the two. And I was thinking last night maybe Lodestar was used to play with the climate of the New World because Lodestar's right at the end of the New World. So maybe the Ancient Kingdom was just after that, which is Laugh-Tale, and they use Lodestar, the magnetic fields on Lodestar to basically try to fuck up the excuse my French, to try and mess up the climate for the New World so that the non-human people die. Am I just absolutely brain leaking here, or is this making any sense?
I know. I think that could be. I mean, I think that Joy Boy's promise was to kill all the humans. So I definitely think that there's something to
Nah,
that.
nah, 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 nah. Emu's promise was to wait.
Yeah.
No, Emu. I think Joy Boy's promise was to protect the non-humans, and Emu's promise, as a non-human, was to kill all of the non-humans, which is why there's no planets left and stuff. But anyway, we're getting way off course.
Oh yeah, no, just
They-
just real quick with that is that he sends an apology note for not being able to do it, and I just think it's because he fell in love with humans. But yeah,
Nice.
talking about the making the poneglyphs or whatever, if they're made at the end of the Grand Line, maybe they're even made on Mary Jo or whatever, the top of the Red Line. If they could just go backwards, they would start at Lodestar and then go all the way to Alabasta. Alabasta would essentially be the laugh tale of that journey.
Yeah, but like, see, I personally think, right, Dawn Island is the left tail of that journey, which means it's unlikely that Joy Boy was handing the poneglyphs out as he went. Instead, it would be likely that he was handing them out as he came back, right?
Well, Dawn Island is not part of the Grand Line.
No. But like, forget the Grand Line. I'm saying like say the Alabasta part is the big end of his journey. Let's say on the Grand Line, right? To me, it would make sense then if he went from Laugh-Tale to Alabasta first, which means when he returned, he would deliver the poneglyphs. Because I don't personally think he left the Ancient Kingdom or Laugh-Tale or that side of the world with the poneglyphs. Personally, I bet he didn't even know about the poneglyphs. Or like the material to make the
They
poneglyphs.
were all together and took so long to spread around the world like that. It would take a long time. That's one thing when they say it's scattered, it sounds like it happened suddenly. And we know Kuma, he can predict where he's going to send things.
True.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
I
The
like
other
that
thing,
Kuma idea.
the other clue we have as well is like in the Sea Forest, there was supposed to be two poneglyphs next to each other. The only place in the story where there's two, right? And we know that the Sea Forest has a huge current that sweeps the bottom of the sea and picks stuff up and drops it at the Sea Forest, right? And which is assumably somehow got at least one of the poneglyphs or both of them to that spot. So it wouldn't surprise me if they used the Shuru current, the dragon current, to deliver the poneglyphs, like with the whales or something like that. But the Kuma stuff is definitely more like reasonable. I just think like where they're positioned, like Kuma literally is firing these inside a tree, or like whoever had the ability originally. I think that's too specific.
Well, that or he shot it somewhere and the tree grew on top of it.
No, that can't be true though, because the trees we know are older, right? Like older than the poneglyphs.
I don't know if we know that about the Zanisha trees and stuff.
Maybe not the Zunisha tree, but surely the fishman, the Eve tree, right?
The one on Robin's.
Well, it's
No,
my understanding with those Eve trees that they grow down. So they grow from the Red Line down to Fishman Island, not from the Fishman Island up until Subodi Archipelago or whatever. So
if that's
if they were
true, Adam,
growing
that's
down, that would
huge.
have time.
That's huge.
I know, man. It's all crazy stuff, but I honestly I do think the Kuma's fruit probably that's why we're getting the weird flashbacks with him before this and just little stuff, is that maybe that power did fit into something. And another one of our members on the last arc, Eldiz, he's got some great videos about Joy Boy maybe being a goat mink or something. And I can't help but think that the Kuma's bear ears and the bear hair and stuff like that does look a lot very close to what a goat mink would look like originally, like
I
Mary.
think Kuma's abilities are going to be relevant, I think, but personally, I think they're going to be relevant to stuff like extracting will, extracting power, stuff like that. Like, I personally think that Joy Boy may have known someone with his power and extracted his own will and put it into Laughter, like into the One Piece, to create the Will of D. But again, this is totally tangent, and we should probably get on with the chapter. Sorry for theory popping.
The truth undoubtedly lies in the letter Lily left. So pray tell, was it a deliberate choice to only refer to her as Queen Lily of House Nefertari? Go ahead and divulge the full name of her letter as written. They've got me. I suppose there really is no chance I'm leaving this room alive. Interesting, doesn't have a cough here with what we were just talking about, but I take it that there is no fib I could tell that would satisfy you enough to let me go. Your fate was decided the moment you saw the great emu. Not surprising. They can't let anyone know the world's greatest taboo has been broken. Then we cut to Sabo listening. Not sure how he got into this room, but he's in this room undetected. The atmosphere here feels a little sinister. What's going on? The truth is, this is Cobra talking. The truth is, the letter from Alabasta's ruler 8 centuries ago was signed by Queen Nefertari, D. Lily. Dilly. This seems to really... I can't... We see on the other side of this page Emu's eyes when she is mad. This doesn't strike me as the same mad right here.
Yeah. You know what it makes you think of? Arlong's eyes when he was playing with Luffy, when he was in instinct mode, in white and similar.
That's what this one does. That's what this one reminds me of.
Yeah.
But these ones over here, it just goes from normal eye to, I don't know if she's holding back tears, if she's squinting for another reason. But the big thing I could think of was like, you start squinting because you're trying not to cry or something.
For me, I think her ability is all about something visual. This I was thinking about it before, and now this the way she guides it, especially her tail or her arrow.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I totally agree. I have a video on my channel called the title is a little bit misleading with Emu has Uranus, but backwards Uranus is sun arrow. And I think that the sun, since it sees everything on the entire planet's surface, would count as this eye power, especially with the Eye of Ra and stuff like that. That Emu has some sort of ability from the sun. And I think that this is actually a huge clue right here. This it's an all black arrow, and people think of shadows as whatever, but you literally can't have shadows without the sun. If you were going to create a shadow, it wouldn't matter what. All you would need to do is just have the power of the sun, and you could create shadows everywhere. And I do wonder if, especially with what we're seeing, later on in a couple pages, that she has some sort of shadow ink ability, and its main thing is kind of weaponizing the sun's rays like an arrow does, and kind of she's able to do that, because I'm not even sure where this arrow comes from. It seems to come from the side of like those pillars and stuff, or maybe even the black walls or something. But
I think Adam, I think it's ink, because you see the next panel of the arrow, it has its own shadow. Which in
Can you
Thriller
show
Bark,
the panel of her showing Emu from the above? She's sitting on the throne.
Yeah, I'll cover in the meantime while we're doing that if you want. Basically, there's some stuff I think Adam mentioned about light. Firstly, in the throne room, we do have this weird source of light, which is right above the throne. Like, we've always had it ever since we've been in the throne room. And this seems to affect the shadows of the Gorosei, like it seems to cast a shadow on them. So it might be more like ink or something. As Ku pointed out, the arrow has a shadow, which is sus. But also, you mentioned Ra, and I'm surprised people haven't picked up on this yet, but the black silhouette of one of the Gorosei is Ra.
Oh, what's up? I cannot read it.
Ooh.
So my big thing with
Thank you,
the
Lucas,
ink
thank you.
stuff, I do like the ink. I know it's gonna be somewhere. I'm not sure if it's Emu or if it's Blackbeard's fruit or if it's Shanks's sword as being a nib pen tip. But if you think about the universe, what's your best guess as what is the biggest thing that holds together stuff in our universe?
Gravity?
That is part of what we call it, but it is not gravity.
What? You talk about light or?
Dark matter.
Okay.
And
Space.
dark matter, we can't even actually prove it exists. Do you know how we actually see dark matter?
Well, through the absence of, yeah, kind of. It's complicated for a stream, but yeah.
Well, it's very easy. You can only tell where dark matter is based on its shadow.
Oh, okay.
You can tell what it covers up or creates a shadow with, even though dark matter is not technically, as far as we know, in our plane of existence and touchable. Yet it's
I
in
didn't think
everything.
that.
If you've read like the dark materials, dust is dark matter, stuff like that. It's a very mysterious force that I think there's a Dan Brown book about it, Angels and Demons. I think they're doing something with the dark matter, like bomb or something like that.
I
But-
dropped the panels that Lucas sent in Furies, if you guys want to see it. So with
Okay, let me
arrows.
check it out. But yeah, dark matter kind of the only way that we even know it's there is by the massive shadows it creates. So I do wonder how much Emu might have to do with that. But check out
I
the
do love the idea because we see a lot of like stuff like Tesla in Vegapunk and all this stuff. So it's a sick idea. I don't like, yeah, we got to jump on that. Like the absence of anything is kind of the opposite of Gear 5. So
Yeah.
What I was
Yeah.
wanting to show you about that picture of Emu sitting on the throne, it does not look three-dimensional at all.
yeah, it
In
is weird.
nearly any picture of her.
Yeah.
She does not
Oh,
look
let me check
three-dimensional.
that out,
She
'cause
looks
I was looking at like that. Not three-dimensional, even though we get this part right here going down the step and then
Yeah, Rimuru,
she
it definitely does.
flat.
Like the pen, like this idea of using the pen or the paper somehow to like as their ability is definitely possible. I'd say.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Also, oh, sorry.
No, that's the main point I was wanting to say is that she does not look three-dimensional at all, and actually neither does the monster shadows either.
yeah, I will definitely agree with the monster shadows for sure that they do not look three-dimensional.
It's probably what makes them look like shadows is they seem to be cast, right? They don't seem to be of form. Yeah, have we been past the panel yet where we've seen their shapes?
No,
Not yet.
we're about to get there.
I was just gonna
Oh.
say, if you look at the VC chat, this is what Angel sent me today, and it was an impel down, which is interesting. Look at inside the buggy's body when he's split in half.
Oh, like a shadow type thing.
Yeah, like completely like void or the shadow or darkness
I'll
inside it.
have you know, I sent that to you.
Ah, it was
but
you.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
it's-
it was you.
No, but
That's
I'm
really
only
big.
joking. But it's the whole page is interesting. It's got some shallow stuff in. Also, the reason why I found it was well, I'll wait till we get to the next bit.
Yeah. I just wanted to drop it in.
Yeah, just to answer Lucas's question about these things, like a voice creating a sound or I think that's what's going on here. My original thought was that this thing kind of like a devil's tail, but I also think it could be like a strand of hair or something like that. But this idea that the voice does that, so vibrations are kind of the same way as you know, they're kind of the opposite of dark matter. Dark matter creates a shadow but doesn't exist. Vibrations
Which
exist,
the-
you can feel them, but there's no shadow.
Yeah,
So
the
I
voice
do
of all
wonder if this
things
might
is
have
pretty
something to do
much
with it.
vibration.
What?
The voice of all things is pretty much is probably going to be vibration, right? Like,
Yes, I agree. I think 3-Day has some stuff cooking about that coming up. And when it comes to ink, I don't hate the ink idea, especially if her head's some sort of a pen type thing with the crown. Ink was originally made using animal or vegetable charcoal. So it reminds me of the Kurizumis, maybe their name means charcoal. Big shout out to elves. But them being
Interesting.
sacrificed to become the ink, because the other big thing that ancient ink was made out of, aside from you either did animal or you did vegetable charcoal, and you combined it with glue. And I've always thought with the rubber fruit that I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you say bounces off me and sticks on you like glue. So I've always been waiting for a glue type character to come here. And with what I was saying earlier about the dark matter, glue is, you could look at glue holding things together very much the same as what we look at dark matter as.
Toit.
Can we get back to your panel?
This
Well,
one?
I want to get to the next one. Let's get to the next one because let's tear it up.
Okay, so we see Cobra get shot through with the arrow thing, which seems to we don't really see where it's coming out of, so we can't really tell. Whatever, gets a huge Fisher King wound in the groin, and then Sabo pops out. He unleashes Fire Fist, and then he shoots a smothered mate attack at Emu, which, according to the translators, is a move in chess and shogi where the king is checked by a knight while surrounded by its own pieces. Which makes a lot of sense considering that, Emu is kind of guarded by the Gorosei here and it still gets through there. And then this panel right here.
The knight could definitely be a nod to the Holy Knights as well, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, true. Yeah, I mean, I know it really sounds crazy, but like a lot of these alchemical and connections elementally are just not what we think they are. And fire being the idea of it being the sun doesn't make sense because you don't use fire in the daytime unless you're cooking. You use fire at night when there is no sun. So I think that this fire idea and Sabo's fruit maybe in the past being connected to something during a nighttime and not so much a sun, I think is a very real thing.
I mean, interestingly, we do see like I think it's on this page. We do see the fire go up the stairs and have some sort of strange reaction and be put out and be turned into steam, which is interesting. Like it's not like Blackbeard's; it's more like water. It's put it out or something like that. But yeah,
even
it's interesting.
I add with this, it's just weird because I looked at panels of Ace and Sabo using the mirror in the manga, and the interaction, it looks literally like, the moment it touched Emu, it entered Emu, like, it looks similar to the people dying in Solar Bark when they didn't have their shadow. When they were evaporating, steam was coming out of it. So yeah, it's like that and says it's very weird.
Interesting.
And the fact that how she twitched her eyes, it could, again, we were talking about visual stuff. It could be that because the way she twitched her eyes, it has certain effect,
Yeah, it seems like she's causing this entire something to come up and almost eat the flame coming at her.
The panel, the double panels where like we see her eye and then her eye rising up. I just have to say that's one of them all-time moments for me. Like when I read that, like just reading it, my hair was starting to stand on end. I was like, "What is happening?" Like, it's sick. Like,
and as for all of, I did not do this on purpose, having the Berserk brand logo over her eye. But this panel to me is the big prover of, okay, it seems like a woman shape, and then she has straight looking bangs right here. It seems like Robin does.
Yeah, it's true. She does give Robin vibe. It's true like that. She really gives like the demon Robin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and it's
Just
interesting
quickly,
too that
just really quickly, random in the chat. If you jump into the Discord and drop us a message, we'll get that sorted for you. Don't worry about it. But sorry to interrupt you, Adam.
Oh, you're fine. The big thing I was gonna say with like when I was talking about how the flame fruit might be something you'd utilize at nighttime, and how its original Japanese name is the Mira Mira fruit, right? Am I correct in that?
Mm-hmm.
What is the biggest mirror technically in our celestial system?
The moon.
Exactly. But moving on.
Interesting.
Oh, I don't know what I did there. Okay. And here we get the big panels of these crazy shadow creatures surrounding Sabo.
Okay, let's talk.
Let me read the page first, and then we will talk about these ones. I was hoping I'd be able to take you all out in one move. After all, there was no way I could have known that hell was located here, at the very top of the world. And we see the Den Mushi taking the pictures that we've seen in the newspaper, and Cobra asking, "You are Luffy Kun's brother, aren't you?" And yeah, let's talk about these shadows for a second, because we don't see all of them here. Disclaimer:
3 days.
we're
3 days
missing.
start.
A what?
Huh?
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say sorry. I thought you were handing it over. I was gonna say 3 day start off, but
Yeah, no,
Okay.
you can always start off.
I'm still on the boat that Gorsei and the Holy Knights and maybe even Aim. These are hockey monsters. This is a manifestation of hockey in shadow form. That's why it damaged Sabo. He's a Logia. Hockey should be the only thing to hurt him.
That's a good point.
spicy.
Although it does seem like the only one that we see hurt Sabo is Emu's little devil tail technique.
Think of it as externalizing or manifesting their hockey, shaping it.
I think it could be. I like that.
So this is what I'm.
I do for once think of the simplest thing that he can't reveal what these are, so it's just shadow. Which if Emu up here is the sun, then the ultimate shadows would be the ones right next to her, which would be these ones. So having them be up here all black on the side that's away from her makes me think it could just be they're just encased in shadows.
Could a
You
shadow
mean
hurt?
when you say shadows, do you mean is it silhouettes we're talking about? Because that thing
Yeah,
is
I mean
holding on with
silhouettes.
its hand. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And what do we think that these beasts are?
Oh man, can I go? If I'm allowed to go, I'm
Yes.
gonna go.
Yes, you can go.
Okay. Right. So firstly, I want to point out that's where you see the Ra, which is kind of crazy that Oda just drew Ra like right there. Anyway, moving on. So touching on what 3 Day says, right? 3 Day talks about Haki, and the one at the top, right, is coming from the heavens. I bet you that's the Sky Pier one, or the one that looks like Gamfall. But the point is, it looks like Kazumbo, right? Kanjuro's like fire spirit that like took on his last will and testament or his last wish.
We'll say this one up top here is Emu. We don't see.
No. It's a mistake. Like I thought that as well.
It's not. I saw you post this earlier. So right here, we look at the shadows. Here's one. There's 3 on this side, 2 on this side. One Gorsei shadow. Here's another one. It breaks off from his shadow and breaks off from his shadow, and then this one's the third one. 1, 2, 3. And then over here we see him 1, 2, 3. Emu 1, 2.
Dude, the alignment of the stream isn't the same as your cursor, I don't think.
Okay.
So like
it's a little bit behind.
so basically, but like the easy way to explain it, right, is there's 5 shadows there, and there's 5 Gorsei.
No, there's 6 shadows there. You're missing the 1 6 shadow. I'm gonna type it out in this thing to make it easy to see.
Oh my god, is that your desktop, Adam?
Yes.
Oh my lord.
So here's one,
Wait,
and bear with us for a second. This will just take a moment. There's two right here. It's
one
just the
second.
little tail of it coming out of the ground.
Right, okay, give me a sec. Let me. Right. Say, show me. So one.
This one's 3.
What? Like, it's well, it's not
You're
tall enough
counting
to
the
make
bird's
it. Right?
wing as 1, 2. I thought that was the bird's wing.
Right here is a character coming up from the ground where number 2 is, which becomes the screamer thing in the next panel.
It's tiny.
I know, but this is not a great picture of what it looks like. You know what? Since it's on Photoshop, I should be able to take the normal one and put it up here.
What's the chat saying right now? Is the chat agreeing with you?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Is the chat agreeing with you?
I don't know.
Us look, the only Mage is saying 5, not that he doesn't see 6.
That's why I'm trying to do this with the other page. Hold on.
I don't have a clue for sure.
Okay. So there's one. There's 2. I can zoom in. You can see that in this shadow is a complete
That's
there's a
tight.
complete break of the Minotaur looking one, and then there's a complete break of the one in the back that's the samurai guy.
Yes, correct. Yeah, it is broken.
And
Yeah, you're
there's
right.
3. Here's 4. Here's 5. And then this one over here is 6. 6
Gandhi
shadows,
Goris.
which we then see
And-
replicated over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So you think 4 is Emu?
Yes.
Hmm.
I would say I would honestly say, and we'll see it in the rest of the chapter, that it's guaranteed that it's Emu. Like
So my whole thing is because Lucas did bring it up, because that's what I also initially thought. I think the number 4, is the Gorsi that jumped before, the one who saw Sabo.
okay, then
If you look,
I'll just ask you, where does this one come from then?
wait, because even look at Emu behind. No, just because then if you look at Emu behind, its darkness is this is the one. It's just I think we just now they all went into position to attack Cobra. That's how what I saw is the younger Gorosei jumped, got into his position, tried to stop Sabo from hurting Emu, and then when they went in their position, and my thing is Emu is
younger Gorosei member jumped. You can see them all here, still on the ground, all being lit on fire.
okay, yeah. Right on that, I was fine initially. It's just also because the shading of Emu looks lighter than the other ones.
Yeah.
That's
This
what I initially
this
thought.
spirited away looking monster up here. That's the biggest
Mhm.
one by far, and is coming down from the area on the throne where we just saw Emu. I think it's simply Emu's form of this.
Okay.
And then it also seems to chase, and that's what stabs through him later on in the thing. But maybe, and honestly, maybe this is a better picture to use for what we think that these creatures' powers might be. Looking at them, I think that the first one is a Minotaur, the Saturn Gorosei guy. Remember from the beginning what their positions were. It was Saturn. It was the short-haired guy that looks the youngest. Then it was the samurai. Then it was the guy with the long beard. And then over here was the guy with the mustache. The Gorbachev-looking one. At first, I thought that his was like a squid, but I think that it's like a woolly mammoth or something with its tusks there. My wife, I always ask my wife with these questions, and she has no idea what she's looking at. I go, hey, what does this look like to you? Because she won't have any like preconceived notions and anything. And she pointed out that with these ears up here, it might be a warthog, like from Lion King, but it also could be a woolly mammoth.
I was going to say, Brandon, I don't think that is Gandhi Gorosei. I think Gandhi Gorosei is the one on the left.
I'm not. I said.
No, Adam. I'm talking to Brandon in the chat.
Oh.
The second one from the left has like something going behind his head. Wasn't he holding his sword like that? Isn't that the Gandhi Gorse? And then the Ra one,
This guy seems to be, yeah.
the Ra one will probably be the Ganthor one then, in that case, right? Because he's a bird, and Ganthor's from Skypiea, blah blah blah.
And then this one, the Gandhi looking
Yeah,
one,
I agree, Kev.
I'm thinking is a snake head. I have another thing on my. This was crudely drawn. My computer's not hooked up to a pen, but the Gandhi guy's head right here, I think, is something like this. And I would very much anticipate that he can make his sword move around like a snake, like that one Jupo Gatana guy in Rurouni Kenshin. That he had that like sword that was like all rolled up and it could like go all around like a snake. I think that is very possible that guy's power is something to do with that and snakes.
Gandhi Gorse is the Loch Ness monster confirmed, Adam.
Yeah, that's a very good one too. That's a very good one too.
At this point, I'm gonna have to shoot.
At first, I was thinking like an alien.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to shoot and put the kitty away and whatnot. But like, yeah, you guys enjoy. I'll jump in the chat, and it's been amazing chat as always. You're amazing, Lucas. Thank you for the super chats. Yeah, keep spitting because I'm interested in it. Well, this chapter's like one of the biggest of all time. And we get one chance to do this, so like, just keep spitting any ideas you got, people. But yeah, I'll catch you all soon.
See you, man. Thank you for joining and having the great ideas as always.
Thank you, Adam. Cheers. Oh, I'm freezing. Right, I'll catch you guys soon.
All right. And of course, if you don't know already, you can find Denden Kushi. He has his own YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure you can find it in the about descriptions either on the Discord or on the Last Ark YouTube channel itself. But he does some great videos independently from the Last Ark on there as well. I want to get your guys' takes. Before that, we did see Eldis talk about how he's got a great video about how one of the Gorse members might be Morgans with the news. And this one right here being a bird-like creature. Now, I think it's gonna be a phoenix. I think that's the phoenix fruit with the guy with the old long beard. But I do really like the idea that it could be Morgans with the news. But he does not seem to have the same head shape here. It might even be dragon with these two horns that we see up here. But I'm not sure.
What interests me is that it does seem to look similar to the wings that we saw once Lafitte have. Just black.
True. And on what's her name? Shaggy's, they're on her neck as well.
True.
3-Day, do you have any you were saying that you think they're all manifestations of Haki?
Yeah, the bird guy looks more like Morgan's to me than anything. Might look like the Kazuki crest. I don't know.
Ooh, I like that one. I like that.
But now, I know this might sound weird, but the giant one coming from the top, that's leaning, grabbing a hold of the wall, like.
Yes.
See, that shows that these shadows or Haki monsters, whatever they are, they do have weight to them. They don't just float around like a ghost. They're leaning on it.
Good point. Very good point. Because yeah, up here she's whatever that shadow is seems to be breaking the one column out with the right hand, and then the left hand is also creating dust and smoke. So we definitely know they have weight to them.
Adam, you should check what I saw drop in the VC chat. I dropped the Kozuki. The sides of the circle on the outside does seem to look similar to the feathers.
They do. My big problem with the Kazuki thing is yes, you're right. They do seem to be that. So this idea that whatever this represents is what is captured the bird, but not actually the bird here, I think is what I think it might be pointing to more, because there's no horns on this bird, and there's the beaks are different. This seems to have like a huge snout type beak, like a seagull or something, whereas one seems to have honestly like an ibis. If you ever heard of one of those from ancient Egypt, has like a very straight beak like this to like woodpecker.
No, I would agree. I would agree. No, just on the side thing, I would agree with the bird. Bird is not the same. It's just it was something about the Kozuki crest when she said it's 3D that made me think of it.
And I do agree that this is definitely something with the outside of that crest. I do really like the idea. I like they also these two seem to be awakened if that is the sign of awakening for zone type fruits. They seem to have the things. The one I'm most curious about is what do you guys think of this one? The one on the left side that looks like the screen painting.
Oh yeah,
That's
it looks like the Scream. Yeah.
Well, it really reminds me of this painting here, where it's just like the head shape is similar, the not just like the elongated features almost seem to be very similar, just revert like flipped around. We even kind of get what seems to look like maybe an ear, but it also just could be the shadow ending of this minotaur looking one. And this would be the Gorosei, because like I said, we'll use this image right here. We have this placement of them, and when we look at that one in the very beginning, this is who they would be. So here's the one on the far left, looks like a Minotaur, Saturn. Then here in the middle, this is the one that seems to be the screen painting. This one might be the Snake Man or Alien, whatever, with the Awakening. Emu's the big one up here. Then this one seems to be the bird guy, which I do actually think in Eldaz's video, he guessed that this one would be the Morgans of the news coups and stuff like that in the World Economic Journal. But I do think it's not. I think it might be a phoenix or a dragon or something. And then this one with the it kind of makes sense now looking at him. If he is a walrus or a woolly mammoth or a warthog, his mustache kind of might be a big clue to that already.
They all look so different to be the same things. So you remember in Matrix when Morpheus was explaining to Neo how he formed inside? He was the mental image of his digital self.
Yes.
Okay, what if these are like how they imagine themselves to look like when they manifest like this?
Ooh,
This is how
I
they
love
feel
that.
from the inside. It's
And
how
if
their
Mu-
souls are.
So the name Mu, I know the translator's notes said it was dreams and void and stuff. The same word and also dream originally meant specter or apparition. So going along with what you just said, the idea that these guys are kind of how they see themselves, like in their mind's eye or in their ego form or whatever in their head, I think that could totally be it. That this is showing a full, disclosure of their inner ideals of themselves.
Yeah,
And if you think you're invincible, and her power does something with that, it would make you invincible type thing. That's very cool.
That one huge shadow somebody has a big ego.
Well, I'm thinking, yeah, I am thinking that one's Emu. And when I asked my wife about this stuff, she pointed out that it really reminds her and me, honestly, of those creatures in Spirited Away that wore the they like wore the mask, but they were all like cloaked in like black shadow or darkness. The one she's sitting on like the bus with all the time in the movie and Spirited Away.
One in the middle that's just covering nearly the whole room.
Uh-huh.
That one makes me think that's Conqueror's hockey too mixed in or something for it to that.
I think that's very real, and I wouldn't even be surprised too if there's another higher form of hockey that's like all of them combined, and that's what that is.
I was
They
just
found a
looking
way to
at the.
manifest it.
I was just
What?
looking at Kanjuro's Kazembo. And what's interesting is it says it's a fiery ink ghost-like entity coming from his strong hatred towards the Kozuki clan, which is interesting if you think about it. There could be an elemental aspect of it, maybe cold instead of heat. Because there's, if I'm not mistaken, there's this entire refrigerator area in the castle, so it would make sense.
Well, and I mean, I know that this looks like it's obviously dust from the weight of the shadow coming down, but these smoke things right here, they could be like frost.
Yeah.
Did we see smoke coming out when the arrow was shot? Nah, we don't see. Okay, so that makes me think maybe it's not Frost, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is Frost or something related with, like you were saying, elements or cold.
Well,
It could be.
Salvo
It
described
could.
him as so sinister too. He said, "What a sinister feeling."
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
But think about it. Maybe that's what it is. Think of it. Sabo is fire. What if it was just to as a shield for the Gorseis? They're not fighting always like that. It's just the best situation right now with Sabo, because he's a fireman. Whatever it's made of.
That could be it. I really am expecting Emu to have like Amaterasu type powers when we finally meet her with the
Yeah.
fire and Zoro wanting to cut fire and all this stuff and having it be like the same as Naruto with the black fire and everything. Because I do kind of think that she's Kaguya, but that is for future videos. Okay, so we've talked about these ad nauseum. Not in a bad way. And if anyone has any questions or chats they want to shoot in for us to see, go ahead. We can come back to it. But moving on to the rest of the chapter, we get Sabo grabbing Cobra. Oh, we gotta go up here first. You're with the Revolutionary Army, and you still stepped in to save me. Our cause is more concerned with the monsters that sit above the kings and queens of the world. Do you know Luffy somehow? He once stepped in to save me too. Haha, that sounds like him all right. And then Sabo takes Cobra and runs away from all these shadow creatures, or hockey creatures, or whatever the hell they are. Leave me, I'm dead weight, Cobra screams. You have a better chance of escaping on your own. Sabo replies back, not gonna happen. There's something I've come to understand. And if you die here, we'll be in big trouble. Because I need you to deliver a message to Luffy and Vivi. You want me to tell them something? Tell them we share the moniker D. What? I finally know the path Alabasta must follow. And we cut into a flashback of Sabo talking to Ace and Luffy. So you both have D in your name? Is that just a coincidence or something? I guess. And then Ace replies, who cares? A name's a name. Do you want a D in your name, Sabo? What? You can be Sad Boy. Why'd you put it there? Ha 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 ha. And when we get another big arrow tail shooting at them, that does create a shadow, but does not
Yep.
seem to create dust effects.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments on knowing for sure, this stuff and that Luffy and Vivi are cousins? I hope this kind of ends the ship that is Luffy and Vivi getting together.
Yeah.
I like the sad boy, joy boy, and then thinking about Ace's hat having the upside down smile and the right side up smile.
Yep, I do like that too. I do think that if I do really wonder if Emu is Joy Boy or if Emu is Sad Boy or Sad Girl. I really don't know. I wonder about that a lot. I think Eldis has a good theory, which lots of this stuff. I think when it's the right answer, you can come into it a million different ways, and we kind of both just seem to be on the idea that Emu's real name might be Misery or Mary or Miriam, one of those type names that all mean misery, and would be the opposite of the name Joy, even though Joy is a girl's name as well. But I do wonder this. I wonder. I know that this sad boy with in Sabo's name is a huge clue to being something in the world that we haven't. Something even more hidden than the Joy Boy secret, and that's the one that's still in charge, the sad boy.
So this is a bit crazy. I was wondering if there's a better meaning with Sadbo. So I actually did the reverse and I looked at the what it means backwards. So with if you remove the S, it actually means first definition is two Spanish word, one for wedding, but an older word for either a vote or a promise.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I'll have to look at that up later because I that could be some huge stuff, especially considering and I guess a failed Joy Boy would become a sad boy. I don't think that's too much of a stretch. So this idea of a promise being connected to it and all that stuff, that's very cool. And then the page ends with this another one of those devil tails or devil hair strings coming out to attack them, and we see that it goes through Sabo. In honestly, if it going in underneath your armpit like that, would probably kill you, but he doesn't seem to die. And it goes through Cobra, and this seems to be a big vital blow, kind of going through him. And this is why I thought that the one in the back was Emu, the big one, because here we see this huge one on the side here and the attack. So, and it actually, if you really look at it, the attack seems to be coming from a speed line. So if it is ink, which I do like the idea, if it is ink, it could be coming from the very manga panels itself, and here in particularly coming from the speed line itself that's drawn. Most importantly, drawn from the sound effect here. This line is the same line for all the way from where the arrow comes out, follow it back, hits the outline of the sound effect, which I think is most important with this sound effect, is that the part of the sound effect that hits technically connects to the outside and middle black parts of the pages for flashbacks. It's actually coming from the sound effect that connects to that. So I think that all could be very huge. We see Sabo getting kind of one shot pretty much and falling over, and he's screaming for King Cobra. Here's that mouth thing again. Now, that seems to be the same kind of setup for the mouth that when Sabo shot that, chest move attack up to Emu, it seemed to be stopped by some sort of a teeth or something. These seem to be that same teeth. And this whole shape here really reminds me of an ogre fish, so I wonder. But we get Cobra on the ground, poneglyphs. I think that he's saying here must be protected. And we hear Ra, which is a big, Ra clue. Fly the flag that heralds the world's eventual dawn. Nefertari Lily, I'm counting on you, Sabo. Or Nefertari D. Lily. And it seems like Cobra takes the attack to save Sabo, so he's able to escape. And then we get outside of Mary Joa seeing King Cobra. And then while he's dying, he's thinking you must live on. And then I think Emu notices, because there's no directional bubble pointer thing of what's actually saying it, except for that top shadow thing. Seems to be the closest to it. And it seems to be interrupting Wapple's thoughts that he's looking through a little hole in the wall and regretting it almost immediately. But they seem to look, and they see Wapple looking through it, or maybe they don't, but I think they do. And then Wapple flies back in fear. He's dead.
I think it is Emu who says who's there. I think it's Emu who says who's there.
Yes, I do agree. I think Emu is the one that seems to pick up that is, because the other one, the samurai shadow, or Gandhi shadow, whatever, he's looking surprised, like what? And then Wapple jumps away. Cobra the Senile has gone and got himself killed. I never liked him, but how can I celebrate after witnessing something so terrifying? I've stumbled upon the biggest skeleton in the government's closet, which I think I really want to see the wording of that in the official, because that biggest skeleton might be a huge clue to this immortal person who's, like the logo, like the One Piece logo has some sort of remains or a rope tied, anchoring it to this earth. That might all be showing the logo with the rope going from the anchor to the skeleton's mouth. But Wapple's saying that, so I'm definitely going to check out on Sunday when the official comes out. I don't even want to know who that was. They will end me while he's running away and crying. We then cut to inside the reverie room, the grand round table in the council chamber. It seems that King Cobra and King Wapple are not yet present. We just received word that the two of them will not be attending, and that we are to proceed without them. So they definitely know Wapple was looking at them, because they've already sent word that neither one is going to be attending, because they're most likely going to be killed. And we jump into the Abraham Lincoln guy. Perhaps King Cobra's impassioned speech drained him, and everyone laughs because they're douchebags. Maybe he considers his job done. Now the dissolution of the warlords has been approved. Let us move to the remaining matters on the agenda. And we see King Riku thinking about what's going on here, and then we get a shot of wow, shit, what was his name? Trident? Was his name Trident, like in Little Mermaid? Neptune, King Neptune. That's what the name is in Little Mermaid 2, I think. Now then, considering the coalition of the four northern nations calling for independence. And then we cut out from the reverie to outside of it with Shirihoshi and her brothers. Shirihoshi, the conference is almost over. Let's go away at the Red Port. We won't have to deal with the celestial dunces there. You okay? Because she's looking away, you know, kind of in thought. I was hoping to say goodbye to Princess Vivi. I wonder where she went. What's the big idea? We cut to Vivi screaming. You'd better untie me. Whose orders are you following? And they seem to be in a guest room in Pangea Castle, where Vivi is pretty much tied up and captured onto a chair. I'll tell the whole world about this. And then we cut to our favorite members of the Cypherpole 9, but they're now the Cypherpole Aegis 0. But Jabaru, Jabra, and Khalifa. Hey, easy there. You're being too forward. Gotta play your cards closer to the vest if you want a shot at being free, you know? You're one feisty chick. And then Khalifa says, I'm afraid no one's going to help you, princess. Once your disappearance is made known, you'll probably live the rest of your life like a pet. Which sounds messed up. And then we see the rest of the Cypherpole 9 people outside of, it looks like Kaku and Ravalucci. They're all there guarding her. Is Shirihoshi all right? I think Vivi asks. Seriously, now's not the time to be worried about others, little missy. We received word that more trouble broke out around her earlier, but she apparently came out of the ordeal unscathed. Thank goodness. The punks who ended up assaulting the celestial dragon that was trying to kidnap the mermaid princess were members of the Straw Hat Fleet. It shows in a flashback type scene of Leo and Sai saying that they boldly proclaimed their victory, giving their names and everything. The guests in the courtyard were stunned. Meanwhile, at the home of the gods, Fujitori's actions helped the revolutionary army free the slaves, and that obviously pissed Ryogoku off, so they went at it. Which I think is a big thing, because I think that Fujitora kind of obviously not being for the world government and maybe even being a revolutionary in some way could be a big hint here. And then it cuts to Jabbar again. What's the deal with this year's reverie? Just how messed up it's been. And then Vivi's sitting there contemplating like a pet. Give me a break. Looks like I'm going to have to do something about this. When suddenly the wall starts making a sound effect of someone screaming. And Wapple pops out, screaming, spare me, I didn't see a thing. And he's kind of charging right at Vivi. Vivi exclaims, Wapple. He's saying, out of the way, this is my chance. And Vivi seems to somehow maneuver herself into the mouth of Wapple. Move already. You'll never take me alive. I think that's all Wapple's saying here. Then we cut to the CP0 looking at this whole mess, going, Choppa, what was that? I think it was King Wapple. And then in the castle, they immediately scream, hey, wait a second. Vivi's gone, huh? And then we see Wapple running into his wife. Oh, darling, they're looking for you. Where the devil have you been? And who is that young lady with you? Hey, Wapple, how much further are you going to go, Vivi asks. As far as it takes. I'll run to the ends of the world if I have to. Sounds good to me. Let's go. And the wife is there shocked. Don't tell me you're running away with the mistress. And the little word clues the next chapter. Eloping to start a life on the run. Which ends chapter 1085 of the One Piece manga, The Death of Nefertari Cobra.
Man. Okay, I want to say something before we go any further.
Over.
This is after 4 years. After 4 years, now the guy can finally rest and he can stop dying in people's furies. It's officially done, guys.
Amazing chapter.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
That's
I'm gonna-
definitely probably one of the biggest ones we've honestly maybe we've ever had.
I'm gonna say this. Look at Wapple.
having feats against CP0.
Yep. Power scaling is totally out the window.
I have a couple of things I was wanting to add about Cobra's last words. Well, a couple of things, but and they were talking about Lily. I don't think she was I think she was the originator of the D clan for the Nefertaris. I don't think she was a Nefertari to begin with. I think she married into them and started the D
Oh,
clan.
interesting.
So she's the first of the D's in the Nefertari clan. If it wasn't for that, they would have never been able to join into the 20 kingdoms for the world government.
My only retort to that would be, I think last chapter it said about how the kingdom, the ruling, went to her brother. It would.
Yeah.
What would be the crazy circumstances where it goes to the in-law's brother to be king?
I have no idea. And he mentions
That would go. I could totally see. I mean, I could honestly see if this was a different, whole story, whatever, and it just ended at Alabasta. That Luffy would have been set up to be king with Vivi as being queen or something. So I could see, an outsider somehow being named king anyway. But yeah, I think that's very interesting though that it could be that she married into that name.
There's only thing that's logical. There was some sort of event that happened that wiped out most direct members. If you think about it, and those royal stuff, you would have to take it. There's at least 20 people in the line of succession. You see that with the British royal family. They always say which one it is in succession. Like this, if 5 or 6 of them get wiped out, you know who exactly will take. He'll be the 7th one. It could be a thing that basically all of them between Lily and that guy, they died or disappeared. So he was the only candidate.
What do you do to people what do you do to betrayers?
Yeah.
So Emu probably used them to take control, and then was like, "Hey, I already know you guys will rebel against the king or a queen at some point anyway, because you've done it right now." And then she took care of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely agree with the idea that they all seem to be wiped out, or maybe even there was a great cleansing of some sort, and just a few members who lived high up, like the royal families on these islands, lived. Something crazy like that.
Did Lily's husband in Nefertari D, or not Nefertari D, but Nu? Nefertari Nu?
It seems like it went to her brother for some reason instead of her husband. We don't actually, I guess we
Well, we don't know what happened to her husband.
True, but do we know if she's married though? I mean, I like this idea that it could be she married in, but I'm not sure if we had confirmation that she was married.
We know nothing about that.
Although it is usually odd for a queen to be named without being married, historically.
Exactly. He must have died, or he stayed there and joined too, or something. I don't know.
True.
Said that the emu that Cobra heard of was one of the first, right? First 20, but we don't know.
Yeah, it seems like at least definitely one of the first ones. Well, and that's something really crazy. Big shout out to Cuddy Flam. He kind of went through and looked at the name Lily in every language, and in Japanese, the name Lily is pronounced Yuri, like Yuri on Ice. Also, like the genre of manga where it is lesbians that love each other. Yuri means a series based on lesbian happenings or love affairs and stuff like that. And I do think there's a huge idea that Emu loved Lily, who Lily might have loved Joy Boy type situation.
Yeah.
It
was an interesting maybe clue to all that stuff.
It makes me think of what Adam, Eve, and Lilith just reversed or changed up a bit.
Yeah, reverse, where instead of Lilith wanting to remain Adam's original wife, instead she falls in love with Eve or something.
No, it could be this thing. Like I always say that John Smith and Pocahontas is literally Dragon and Sabo's interaction in Goa Kingdom, except you remove all the relationship and love stuff, just the interactions. It could be more interaction wise. She chose Lilith and Eve basically joined together, and did not join Adam. But then Lilith realized her errors of her ways, so she tried to meet up with Adam. But then Eve got upset. So instead of God punishing Eve, and Adam, but mostly woman, it's Eve that punished them both, or tried to punish them both. Punished Adam, but couldn't Joy Boy, but couldn't punish Lily because she could never find her. Hence why she's so salty about her.
It could be. I push back a little bit just because if we're dealing with generational and millennium tropes and stuff, some of the biggest ones are the evil stepmother or a woman's love scorned and stuff like that, and story even being called romanced on. I know that Oda's kind of come out and said that there will be no romance in the story, even though one of the main definitions of romance is adventure. But I think what he might be saying is in our current world, maybe not any romance stories because they've already happened, and those reverberations that have come from those soured relationships or fruitful relationships is literally what makes all the story go round now, shown in all the stork clouds that we see.
Well, what do y'all think about when he said poneglyphs must be protected? Fly the flag that heralds the world's eventual dawn. Is he talking about the Straw Hats flag, or perhaps that flag that has the 8 circles on it, or just a metaphorical flag?
Honestly, that I don't know. That is an interesting part where it's like, yeah, that whole when Cobra's dying thing that gets covered up by the speech bubble. I do wonder what he's saying there. Like, okay, protect the poneglyphs, even though the poneglyphs were made by, it seems like, what became the world government or something. If Emu's referring to having lost them or Lily's incompetence. I do honestly wonder if maybe she was supposed to take him to Alabasta, and then Kuma or someone sent them all off or something, or Zunisha while they were riding Zunisha, they dropped them off instead of dropping them off all in one place. I do wonder because what would be their original plan with these poneglyphs anyway? Like just to have the history for themselves and just have to worry about people finding them? I would think that if they're trying to cover up this history, you just I guess you would just hide them in the deepest, darkest room, whatever, or destroy them or something. But
it kind of makes it seem like she knew exactly where every poneglyph was to protect the poneglyphs. I'm pretty sure it said protect them.
Interesting.
But to protect them, you would have to know exactly where every one of them were. So does that mean Alabasta doesn't know where they're all at? At least once did.
At least the most recent people in Alabasta do not. At least it seems like they do not, based on like what Robin and Cobra seem to be talking about.
That's why I think it's very.
Okay, so I'm looking up, and the word relic originally comes from the word relinquo, and linquo means I leave, quit, forsake, or depart from, which really makes me think about the front cover of the story saying departure. And the very first video I ever did is about the poneglyphs being a trap, and basically once they're gathered, they'll unleash Panda Man. And a relic is a part of the body of a saint or an ancient religious object kept for veneration. So very much the same as like JoJo Steel Ball Run, where these might be the housing, like they were made around a body part of a celestial being or an angel or Joy Boy or something, or like I think Panda Man, which Panda Man originally meant a messenger from God. That's what the word panda originally means. So I do wonder if this all could be the way that she says relics, these vexing relics, that could be a big clue to that idea. But I'll have to wait to see the official translation on Sunday to know for sure. We already know in one way they unleash, something at Laugh Tale, or they lead you to Laugh Tale. I think that might be a big tongue-in-cheek kind of clue from Oda, that the Laugh Tale is this whole thing was to release Panda Man. which is either
The
going to
one
make you laugh or make you cry.
Yeah, the one thing that's very interesting is after he says poneglyph, there are 2 points, etc., right? And then there's the war. We don't know what he says. Then he talks about the flag. I'm wondering if he said something more than just poneglyphs, like maybe a specific type of poneglyphs, you know, or poneglyph for a specific place.
Yeah.
Like
I'm reading again. The poneglyphs must be protected, is what it looks like, but I'm not sure. It's cut off, and then fly the flag that heralds the world's eventual dawn.
I think you ready? I think there's a specific flag that people will recognize, and it could be Laugh-Tale, and only Joy Boy can take it. You know what I mean? Or wield it. Or I don't know. You know.
Yeah, crossbones and everything. That's a big deal with Luffy and Drum Island and stuff like that. And I'm looking at this is real quick. It does seem like he's reading the end of the note now that I look at it, because then it goes, you know, dash Nefertari D Lily. I'm thinking that he's reading the end of the note to Sabo while he's kind of performing his Gandalf you shall not pass move. So it seems like the end of Lily's note might have said, the poneglyphs must be protected, and then fly the flag that heralds the world's eventual dawn. Which, in all honesty, could be the Alabasta flag, because isn't it like a circle with a bunch of suns around it?
Yeah, I think so. I forgot how it looks like, but I think it's something like that.
So yeah, it makes me think it might just be the flag of Alabasta that she's referring to, and whatever meanings that flag might have. Well, do we have any other burning desires or things that stuck out to you in the chapter? Either one of you guys? And lady,
Honestly, I think for me there was because we talk a lot in the middle of the chapter, and I were able to drop all of my stuff. My whole thing was about the ink, you know, being more ink than shadow because of the shadow underneath it.
True.
And now with that panel of buggy having, you know, seems to be a shadow inside it, it could be that whatever they had outside is maybe what everybody has inside, or at least Delphoid users. That's how Delphoid users are from the inside.
I definitely think that is something to where the inside of them is shadow-like they're using sun energy or something, like the devil fruits or whatever. I have some stuff coming out about that. Maybe I'll push it sooner with this buggy panel and stuff and the new shadows. But I definitely think there's something to the idea that these are basically just housing little suns. And using the sun and gravity, you can create anything you want. That's how our entire universe is made in combination with dark matter. So I do wonder if that is something that the devil fruits, they pretty much make you a mini universe.
That's a very interesting thought. I'm gonna think more about it because that's actually kind of caught me off guard with that statement.
Like I said, it's a video I have like a bunch of research for, but it's one of those hard ones of how exactly do I start off this video and all this stuff. I will say, if you're in the chat or if, for you future reference, Cube, a lot of the clues come from when Wiper. When Wiper immediately knows that Luffy's fruit's a paramecia fruit.
I've got to recheck that.
That chapter actually has Wapol on the cover, and he's opening a toy store. And there's all sorts of weird things with toy stores and those definitions and everything. And then this idea that the paramecia seems to be immediately known from changing the body and not becoming an element is one thing. But the fact that he knows it's a paramecia just from seeing Luffy blow up to a balloon, I think might be a huge clue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the chat here. Welcome, Elson. And then we see Cuddy Flam. What's up? Thank you for joining the chat. We're talking about the organs of the apocalypse, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. And, okay. I see a good question here. From Hagen Karnaru, or Corneu. How do y'all think Emu's ink shadow power connects to the erasing thing? And I don't. I think Luffy's the eraser of destiny. I think Luffy's the one that can actually erase characters, which he has before, and erase hate and erase emotions that are bad, all the stuff that he does. And that Emu can just destroy. She can just crush things. She can destroy them. Even in this instance, we see her destroy Lucia, and the main people it seemed like she was trying to go after, Sabo, got away. That didn't work. I don't think that Emu can erase the same way that there is ways to find out what the Void Century contained and what exactly the true history of the world is, at least according to Rayleigh, that they did find out that is. I don't think that she's able to erase. I think that she's only able to hide and destroy, like what shadows do.
What's
Or,
another
you
word
know,
for
something
that?
out
What,
like
what's another word for eraser?
rubber.
Exactly. So yeah, I agree with exactly as well.
And it's also in Ichiro Oda's first ever manga that he wrote. I can't remember what the name is.
God's gift for the future. My next series that's supposed to come out once the editor is finishing in a couple of days. I'm talking about it.
Okay, good, because that one has a lot of that manga holds pretty much how to decipher half of One Piece into it, and especially with the god having the same nose as Usopp does originally. But the whole idea that God has lost this eraser of fate for this whole time, and that there is a pen of fate. I think that Emu might represent that pen, although maybe Lily does, having this whole note being written and stuff like that. But I definitely think that Luffy is the whiteout or eraser. But that's not a good thing. I'm not saying that's a good thing. It's just I think that is a thing that will be happening.
I just thought of something. Think about it, right? If Emu initiated the Void Century, right? And let's say I believe Emu is a false god, so she needs to maintain balance, right? If she erases information, right? We need to go somewhere, even information, if she erases it with her ability. Wouldn't it be that's how poneglyphs were created? Literally, the poneglyphs were created from Emu originally, and then people learn how to do their own poneglyphs. That could be why she's so vexed. It could be some of the poneglyphs, some stuff that Emu erased from history. It just came out like that.
I mean, it could be stuff like she was trying to literally void out. I do think that's a big clue with the Void Century is that's what you do to a manuscript that's bad is you put a big void stamp on it. It doesn't exist as canon anymore, especially in the manga world. So I do think that there's a chance you did that, and I like the idea that the poneglyphs are basically what she took out of reality, but they had to still exist somewhere. And even if that's just in Oda's notebooks, it has to be in the story somewhere. And then that's what became these poneglyphs.
Yeah, that's interesting. We never thought of that. We always assumed people started, but it could be that the first poneglyphs weren't made to keep information. You know what I mean? Maybe it was a balance. Because think about it, if everything has a balance in the world of One Piece of Emu, even the information she erased would have a balance.
Exactly. Exactly. I never thought about it before, but them having to be stored somewhere, or even if they were, I'm almost thinking if they were literally pulled out of reality, like dark matter would still exist somewhere, and maybe that existence was put into the poneglyphs, and that's what became them.
Yeah, I think so too. It would make sense.
Well, then, yeah, I'm looking at the chat right now. If there's any other burning questions or desires to hit us with now, or else we'll probably be wrapping this up a little bit early today.
Yeah.
I see 3-Day mentioned that maybe the Lucia incident was ancient technology and not Emu's personal power. And that could be very true. That could be very possible, too, that was something, flying around in the sky that's shot down, and it wasn't exactly Emu's powers.
Or what if that thing that was on top of it is based off Emu's ability, like an ink type of thing? And when Emu just crossed it out, it affected. It acted on Emu's will.
True. It could what it's making me think of is holding a giant pen that you dip into ink and letting a pen like an ink drop fall off.
Yeah.
Well, then, yeah,
At least.
I think that's gonna do it for us then today.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so. I think so too. You know,
like I said
it was.
earlier, our usual D&D stream tomorrow is postponed till next Friday, and then our usual Saturday tier ranking list is postponed from this Saturday to next Saturday. So we're gonna be bumming out and vacationing this weekend, and then we will be back next week with the newest chapter to stream as well as the D&D, and we're gonna be tier ranking Full Metal Alchemist, the manga, and then the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood together. That we'll be tier ranking those, all of us on the last arc stream. So that'll be next Saturday, probably around 1 o'clock or so, and then same with D&D next Friday, and it'll be at 3:30 like usual. And
Yeah,
then
guys,
yeah,
yeah.
hopefully next week when we come back, there'll be a chapter with even more reveals. I do wonder if we're gonna be. I wonder if we're gonna see what's going on here, or like we're gonna see like Morgan's pick up Vivi and Wapple or something, or if it's just going to cut to Egghead or the present time or something like that.
Honestly, I'm very excited to see where we're going in the future of One Piece.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I think you and I we've been excited since 2002 about where the future of One Piece is going.
Yeah,
Shout
that
out to
is
the
what I
next
like.
legends in the
chapter.
chat.
predict
Sorry?
the next chapter.
What did Fritz say?
I said shout out to the legends in the chat today.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
Oh,
definitely.
yeah.
We appreciate you
absolutely.
guys. We appreciate you guys.
Yes, as always. Thank you guys so much for joining, and ladies, thank you for joining and donating and watching and all that stuff. We do this for you guys. And then yeah, no, 3D. If you want to real quick while we're ending, I guess we go through what we think might happen in the next chapter. Like I said, I'm hoping we kind of get this sorted out in a couple pages. Whatever the escape is, and then we kind of cut back to. I'm thinking Saturn arriving on Egghead if he's not already there.
Hope so
I don't
too.
think he is there already. What do you think, Cube?
I think that if we're still gonna get some Murphy stuff, I think we're going to get something that will explain York's reasoning of wanting to become a celestial dragon. Because if you think
Okay.
about it, the last thing of Egghead was that reveal with some minor stuff, but that big reveal. And now we're getting all this lore. And it could be this thing where just like Blackbeard wants, a kingship, it could be that both of them are using their different reasoning for their different position as stepping stone to be inside that castle for some reason. You know what I mean? There must be something that they
Okay.
want to be close to. Yeah. And I think the next chapters before we go back to Egghead, because you think about it, it was weird how he pivots completely. He never does that in the middle of a struggle like that somewhere else, unless story-wise we're supposed to get something from there that will explain something that York will say. I think when York will say that at that moment, her reasoning, everything will make sense. It's all connected.
Okay.
I think it connects back to
Okay.
York.
What do you think, 3D?
Oh, I'm hoping that we get to see exactly how they escaped, how Bonnie got where she was, then catch up to what Sodbo. I hope Dragon moves out. Then we go back to Egghead.
Okay. Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind that either. Seeing Dragon and them, or cutting back to them talking about what they think of all this stuff, I guess.
This is supposed to be a flashback or Sabo telling the story, right?
So yeah, no, yeah, it would make sense that we come back and we come back to the Kabaka Kingdom or Queendom, and then it's them, deciding what to do, and maybe Dragon finally making his move. Well, cool. I like all those ideas. I think we all, and everyone in the chat and everyone, we can't kind of wait
Yeah.
for the new chapter. I can't wait till Wednesday or Thursday, whenever it comes out, for us to be trying to talk to you guys about it that day.
Yeah, man, but it was a great stream. Like again, thank you to everyone in the here with me, but also those who left early, like Den, but also all those in the chats. It was a great moment to share with all of you.
Yep. And we
Thanks,
appreciate every
everyone.
comment and everything, and liking the videos, and it really helps us out too to comment on the stream after it's done. So if you all feel so inclined, you can refresh once we're done, and then place a comment, Who knows? Whatever you feel like posting, but all that stuff helps us in the streams and in the algorithm and all that.
Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. It's a great stream.
Yeah, then with that, my name is Am Jin Rakai, and speaking for Cube and 3 Day, it's been a pleasure once again, and we'll see you all next week.